This is Bob Grove with Climate Council. We're interviewing Marianne Warfield today. Marianne's one of the founding members of the council. Hi, Marianne.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you started in the environment?
As far as getting started in the environment, it's actually been an ongoing thing since I was about 19 years old. Um, Kirkwood, Missouri, which is where I grew up, uh, opened its first recycle center in 1971. And my aunt was very much into recycling newspapers, bottles, cans. I would go over to her house every weekend. We would load up her car and go to the recycle center. And the center in Kirkwood looked very much like the ones in Europe where they've got separated bins and what have you. So we'd take our recycles there. Um, in that process, the property that I lived on was 15 acres of wooded ground. It was in an urban area, Kirkwood, Missouri. And I just grew up respecting the land, the trees, the animals that live there. And I was fortunate enough to be able to live in my grandparents' house after my daughters were born. And they were introduced to that lifestyle until they were about 5 years old. And then we moved to another location in Kirkwood. But it was always a part of my life, recycling and just respecting the property around us.
Sounds like you grew up in an urban forest.
Very much so. Is 13 acres of that property was wooded, just virgin wood. It had not been, none of the wood had been cut down. It was old forest, 100-year plus oak trees. It was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you could get up in the morning and pileated woodpeckers would be all through the woods. You could hear them. There were fox, there were groundhogs, just a plethora of creatures and fauna that just, the flora, it was gorgeous. And it was a very wonderful childhood to have. And I'm so lucky that I was able to have that childhood.
So how did that translate into founding the Climate Council?
Um, in the last 30 years, approximately, maybe a little longer, we've kind of gotten away from environmental issues. We had to establish regulations with the EPA because of the water pollution and the air pollution and over logging in the forests, and it was getting to be a sad state. And uh, more and more small groups were establishing themselves, and all of the work is important, and there's so many issues regarding climate change and global warming and the environment that they all needed a larger voice. And I saw the Climate Council as a way for them to have a platform where they could share information. They could, I guess, in a sense, borrow from each other to make their group larger, louder when they needed to be. Uh, so, the mission for Climate Council is to educate, to partner, and to advocate. And I saw that as a means to address so many different issues with a larger voice. And Climate Council's been growing. We've been here about 18 months, maybe a little more. And I see it as something that's needed to fight against the lobbyists, in that, we're not political, but yet we offer those voices. We offer that platform to get the education portion out to individuals across the globe. I mean, we just had our Earth Fest 2020, the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. And we had a lot of participation online, and the pandemic forced us online. We couldn't do our physical presence. Um, and there were viewers on the platform from Israel and from Australia. That was pretty impressive to me. It showed me that we were going in the right direction.
That's really good. So do you think going online is something you will continue to do
I think
for
it's
the Earth Festival?
I think I think it's a good platform to accentuate, on the ground Earth Fest. The the momentum has to keep going. We're not going to have any results from the politicians, from the governments, and that unless we have a showing on the ground and on the net, the web. I mean, the web is it's been around for a while, but it's still, the use of it is still rather evolving. And that evolution, going with this pandemic, going into an online presence has shown us that we can reach so many more people. And that's exciting. That's very exciting.
You were telling me earlier that you just launched a YouTube channel.
Yes, yeah. The YouTube channel just launched. Uh, we need to get 100 subscribers on there, and then we can get a dedicated address. So I strongly urge people to start subscribing, and uh, just, we look forward to utilizing the web more and more.
So thank you for speaking with me today. Where do you see yourself going, you and the Climate Council? Where do you see that going in the future?
Oh, growing, uh, expanding our reach, um, getting more people active and interested in just even what's in their own backyard. Um, it's an evolving movement, and it needs to happen.
Okay, thank you, Marianne.